Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. We've got a friend in the house, Harvey Evans. He's running for city council in Salisbury in District 4. Welcome, Harvey.
Welcome, Greg.
So why are you doing this, man?
Oh, here we go. uh, I guess I just got tired of complaining about stuff. Calling this, that, and the other. Street sweeper, the trash isn't getting picked up. This, that, and I just decided I'd make a shot and run and see if I could make a difference.
You live right there in Newtown, right next to Poplar Hill Mansion.
40 years.
The old Tim Q house from way back.
Right.
It's a great home there on that corner, but you are really on the front lines of a Salisbury neighborhood going through constant transition.
Right. Right. Well, there was a lot of older people that have died or moved on, and I moved in there my house when I was 29. I'll be 64 in a couple of days. So,
Wow.
I've lived there a long time. Before that, I lived on Light Street, which was in the Newton Camden area. I lived there till I was 30, and I kept the house until last year. I just sold the property.
Really?
I was always optimistic that the neighborhood was going to maybe turn around. I never could figure out. You could see the hospital and you could walk to the college, but that Smith, Maryland, Ohio, just.
Yeah, that never made sense to me because that North Camden with the hospital right there, you would think that good things could happen, but Light Street's been like the demilitarized zone
Right.
several times during its experience.
Right. Open air drug dealing, prostitution, shootings. We just had a shooting in Ohio, which was a block away, some college students. So.
Now, I feel like with the Camden Garden and the community center there, that there's more progress, there's more positivity coming.
Well, I don't know. There's some really neat houses there that, if I thought, I spoke to people before, if they could get some kind of block grant, buy 3 or 4 of them, fix them up, families would move in.
Right.
But there's also some rentals there, which I had a rental that I used to rent to college students, but they didn't want to live there anymore. So then the house just sat. I painted the outside, cut the grass, and kept the windows closed until I disposed of it. But there's a lot of like rooming houses. Believe it or not, it's still a historic neighborhood, but there were some houses where they actually lobbed the porches off the front, just put concrete steps.
Yeah.
Took all the bushes up. Nobody has any landscaping. It's just blighted. It's a shame.
So if you got on the council, what would you do to try to fix some of this stuff?
That's a good question too. It'd be great to, like I said, to see if there was some kind of grants. There's right now on Newton Street, there's 4 empty houses boarded up. There's got to be, I guess there's some funding or, get people interested in moving there. Especially with the cost of building a new house now.
Right.
It's a lot cheaper to rehab something. So maybe get it. The people have to have, I bought a house as a young man and try to fix it up while I live there. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a project all the time.
Yeah.
So somehow you got to get them started so that they're fixed up. The best thing for a young couple to do, if you could find one, is get a duplex. Live on one side, fix the other one up, move to the other one, and then move on and get another house.
Right.
But that would be a good idea to try to do something to fix some of those houses up and get them sold as single family, houses.
Are things getting better in Newtown or worse? I see Matt Kramer's old house is on the market, complete rehab. Looks really nice. Over $300,000 they're asking.
Yeah, I think it's pretty consistent. We've had on Division Street, we've had some, I guess they're called halfway houses.
Yeah.
They've bought some pretty large properties.
I hear a lot of concern about these things.
Well, yeah, I guess. The only things that I don't know. The houses need to be occupied by somebody. As long as the people are making progress and are getting away from drug addictions, I think it's a great idea.
Right.
But if they're starting to interfere with the other people in the neighborhood, then it's not a great idea. So.
Right. We've seen that over on Middle Boulevard. Residents unhappy with a house that's over there.
There's a halfway house there.
Yeah. And they've been coming to the council, and no one wants to question the idea that people need to make progress, but it just they fit better.
They don't want them in your neighborhood.
Exactly. They maybe they fit better in some neighborhoods than others.
Right. Right. Well, we have New York and Pennsylvania Avenue, and that's there's some down towards the water. There's some nice houses, but up at the other end, there's some not so nice houses.
Right. Right.
So, but like I said, with the cost of new houses and the amount of people here, you would think some of these older places would take off and make a turn.
Now, you were a painter for a long time, did rehab.
10 years.
You know, is that still a good market for doing the rehab stuff?
I did some work for a guy that owned an apartment building in my neighborhood, and I bought it from him. So I spent, 5 or 6 years working on that. I got 4 apartments in there, and then I bought the building to the left of the Poplar Hill Mansion, which was also an apartment building. And when I lived in my house, that was like a drug house, and it was for sale, and I figured if I didn't buy it, it was going to go the other direction. So I bought that. I put air conditioning, central air in all the apartments. I have, I guess you'd call them professionals. I got a guy from the health department, a guy who teaches at the college, da-da-da-da-da. So I pretty much paint my own stuff weekly.
Right.
Between that, cutting grass, raking leaves, fixing stuff. I own 15 toilets, so I'm always, doing plumbing.
Yeah, one of them's always about to leak.
Exactly. So, but yeah, that's the answer to that.
Well, it seems like you don't want the city necessarily involved in buying these properties and getting involved, but you want to inspire not developers, but people like yourself to buy these properties and fix them up and become, not
Younger people.
Well, yeah.
Younger people.
Yeah.
Right.
But still, it seems like that's the kind of thing that might help neighborhoods more.
Right. Well, the other problem too is, I'm saying this and I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't think kids growing up today had all the handy skills that, my generation had.
Right.
I mean, when I lived at the beach in the winter, I worked as a framing carpenter. I did trim work. I learned how to paint. When I was in high school, I took 6 wood shop classes my senior year. So I had a lot of hands-on skills. Kids today can't even change a tire or, put a wiper blade on or change the oil in their car, things that we all did growing up. They don't know how to do any of that. So,
my hero growing up was also a friend of yours, George Schoaf.
Right.
And you were a beach patrol guy for a long time. I think that's how we all know Harvey,
Right.
from Ocean City,
Right.
beach patrol, that
Right.
whole culture.
Right.
I never understood why you moved to Salisbury.
Well, I was at the pig roast at Fager's Island with my wife. We were getting married, and she wanted to buy a house. And I'd lived in Ocean City for 8 summers, and I'd saved almost $30,000. And I said, if you can find a house for $30,000, I'll buy it. Well, I didn't know we were going to come to Salisbury.
Right.
So we're riding around, and we bought this house in Light Street that it was an estate. Edna and Maurice Tillman lived there. They had no children. And so I bought this house, and I actually, back in the 70s and 80s, there wasn't a whole lot going on in Ocean City. The winters were, freezing
Right.
cold. I mean, I was a duck hunter, so I duck hunted till around December, and then you just sat there, and
Right.
it was cold.
Right.
I mean, I lived in Colorado. I lived in California. I was born in Alaska. I've lived in some pretty cold climates, but Ocean City,
Before
February,
global warming, it was cold.
January, February, March is cold.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up in Salisbury.
But you're one of those guys, you could live anywhere in the world, and you stayed in
I
Salisbury.
know. Don't believe me. I know. I mean, I lived in San Diego, Colorado. I've been all over the place. You know what? I liked it. When I first moved here, it was great. I mean, I used to bolt duck pins at the old Wacomico lanes, and I used to go to Johnny's and Sammy's, and it was neat. I mean, I remember the first job I had. I had to be there at 6 a.m. and they're listening to the party line. Do you remember that?
Yeah, on
So
WICO.
I'm sitting, I'm at work, and I'm listening to the radio, and a lady called in, and she had a toaster that toasted perfectly.
Mr. Phillips, yeah.
She had a toaster, toasted fine on one side, but the other side only toasted half the piece of bread, and she wanted $1. and somebody actually called in and bought it. That was the best part, So it was kind of a Mayberry, I guess,
Yeah.
So now we have 2 super Walmarts, 5 steakhouses, a Sam's Club. I mean, it's become quite urban. It's not the same as it was.
Yeah. So you get elected to the council. What's the first thing you want to say when you get at that table, or do?
Well, the thing that really bothers me is that nobody in the city knows about stuff till after it happens. You know, the news doesn't cover it, the paper doesn't cover it. And it started with the park. They started taking out all the turns in the park, you know. Then we got the bike lanes. And then, I bring this up and nobody remembers it, but 3 summers ago, there used to be, across from the amphitheater, billboards, WBOC, I think it was Johnny Gymnastics or
Right.
something. They took them down and they spent the whole summer driving pilings for a bike bridge for the Rails to Trails project, which I don't know what happened to that. But, you know, then we had the circle on Mill Street. Then we got the bike lanes. And I was an avid biker for quite some time. And you know, we don't need bike lanes there. We need a bike lane on Pemberton Drive.
Yeah.
There's no place for the bikes to ride to get out of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you want to have a bike lane, just put some tape down and lines. I mean, I use Northwood Drive. I ride my bike up to Walmart and Sam's Club.
Right.
But, you know, it's crazy. So I guess I try to see what was planned for the future, and it doesn't make sense, doesn't make economic sense.
Right.
I mean, we have true street sweepers, and there's one over in the yard with weeds growing up around it that we
Yeah.
don't have anybody to drive the thing.
I've wondered about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an employee issue, or have you heard? I need to find out. That's something I should find out about.
Well, there's some city services that in today's economy that we could probably alleviate and sub out.
Right.
You know, the guys that are cutting the grass in the park,
Right.
maybe even trash service, you know. Instead of hiring trash men and owning 2 trash trucks that keep breaking down, sub that out, you know. Just get contractors to come in and do it and put it out to bid.
How's the recycling work in the neighborhoods? Does that work?
It works for me. I have a really hard time trying to get my 2 apartment buildings to tell them what they can and can't recycle.
Right.
It's got to be cardboard without any wax, glass, plastic, aluminum cans. So I basically go every trash day and go through
Sort through it.
sort through it and throw the stuff out that can't be recycled. But
Right.
I mean, that guy's up and early, man. He comes by the house at 5:30. If you don't have your stuff out there, you know, it's not getting recycled.
Right. Right.
So
4 years from now, when you're back here again, running for re-election,
I heard that question the other day. No.
what's our hometown going to look like?
Hopefully, well, it can't look like it did 4 years ago or
Yeah.
5 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of, you know, the downtown has to have some kind of commerce. You know, is it ever going to have the big, elaborate shopping stores? You know, Benjamin's, Hess Apparel, all that stuff? No. But, you know, the boutique thing like they have in Berlin, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But that's my big concern about all the downtown construction, because when they built the tunnel here at the college, it killed all the businesses on the highway. They all closed.
Yeah.
They had no business.
Yeah.
So, you know, now they want to do these parking garages I can't figure that part out either. None of that makes any mathematical sense to me. You know, we had parking places. It was kind of ugly. Maybe you could have put some landscaping in or something, but I don't know. That's a good question.
How can people get a hold of Harvey to find out more about your campaign? I know you don't have a website for
No,
this.
I don't have a website. I guess they can call me. Come by Tuesday when they go vote. Stop by the Wycomico Presbyterian Church, and
You'll be there?
I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll give my phone number. If they got a problem, they can call me. I was out campaigning 2 days ago on Jackson Street, and the gentleman said that there was a trailer parked in front of his house with a flat tire. Had been there since June, had been involved in an accident. So I've already been by there 3 times, called the police to try to get the thing removed for him. I figured I'd get at least 1 vote from that guy.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, people, you knock on the door and they tell you the problems and
Yeah.
see if you can solve them. So
He's Harvey Evans. He's running for City Council, District 4. We're thrilled Harvey had time to be here today. Thanks so much.
thank you.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper. Another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.